Hello everyone, it is me, MrSneakyy, and today I'm going to give my opinions before the patch goes live on one of the issues, which is a union, so stay tuned. Hello everyone, so yes, I'm going to go over unions today before the patch does go live, because obviously it's going to be removed, and obviously my thoughts on the actual patch, on that actual issue itself. So if you enjoy these type of talks, you know, just my discussions and just my thoughts on the game, obviously subscribe, like and comment. You know, I'm always here to give you guys my thoughts, obviously as the game progresses, as well as obviously giving you guys all the guides and info, you know, to keep you up to date with how to maintain being an active and good player at the game, right? So if you guys ain't, you know, if you guys are sleeping under a rock or something, if you don't know, in patch 1.014 they are removing unions from the game. And if you're wondering what unions are, if we go and hit the alliance menu, so on the keyboard for me it's O, and then as you can see we have a union here, and when we press the little dot button it gives you a little, you know, blurb on what unions are. Basically it allows unions are ways of having allies in the game, and by having those allies you're able to do different things, right? So what we used to be able to do was, for example, like up here, since one of us would take this pass but we're both union and allies, it would allow us both to go through, similar to like how coalitions worked in KVKs in Rise of Kingdoms, right? But this is being removed now, so basically it's isolating it, so there's no more unions. You can't obviously do this. Another reason they said they are doing it on the patch notes was to basically stop people from like fort dropping from somewhere and then obviously like teleporting over there because they're union based and able to, you know, like go through and so forth. But one thing, like in that issue itself, it's like there's no reason why people can't do that anyway still. Like if you have a main alliance, so let's take Super Server 1, right? Even if you took like TA, or even if we come up to like SS1 and we come even across the DRLN, right, and you look at their main alliance like Storm over here, even the DRLN one, like even one of these alliances, right, what they could do in reality is build a second alliance, which is all farm accounts, and then with those farm accounts you have your core, and then you save up to build a fortress, and when you need to you can drop it in an offensive area, build it, and then obviously go over to that alliance basically like you would still do, and then join the fight in that regard, right? So there's still workarounds some of these topics on like what you can do, right? And a lot of like old school Rise of Kingdom players would know a lot of these issues that the developers have kind of stated in the patch is just kind of like, you know, there's easy workarounds that's just not worthy of it. One thing that like it impacts the most, and I think like what most players are more annoyed about, kind of like including myself, and this is one thing which is like the biggest issue, were when you're in a union, the best thing about being in a union, it allowed the combat system in the game to be so much more smoother, and it was such a good quality of life effect in the game, right? Because if we like cut to some footage in a moment, so yeah, if we look at this footage I've got right here, you're going to see what I'm talking about. So as you can see, we've got TA on screen, we've got GRZ and UAH. These are all obviously alliance members, different alliances, all within the same union, right? And even though this is just a quick small clip, there's no real combat happening in here. You can imagine, so when Boogie, for example, or any other troops, even like located at the very top of the screen where like my coordinates are, if you look up in that region, like any of these enemy troops were all automatically wiped, so it made the battlefield very easy to read and very recognizable to like obviously take a fight, right? Obviously in here you're not going to see much, but this is like just showcasing, look, like how much the you know, fluidity and how easy it was to read and understand, right? And this is only one little small clip, right? I've got quite a few clips. I'm going to move on to another one right here, hopefully, which has got a bit more actual fighting involved. So like this is like a really old clip. So if you can look, this is going back in January, right? So this is like how everyone expects the fight to be. And as you can see here, when I pause the video, you can see all the blue, and these are maybe 2 different alliances fighting here. And then you've got all the white, which is another alliance. And when we zoom in, you can see you've got all of TA just fighting together, but in the blue side you have NT45 and Forbidden fighting together, right? And the thing is, which made it really funny when the like developers said that it stops basically the, you know, unions allowed big alliances to dominate a server, right? But the thing is, it was like this NT45 alliance during this, you know, era of season 2. For the first time wasn't a strong alliance, and they were great, and the thing with their alliance was the teamwork they had. It didn't have individual power, it was just their ability to fight together, right? And this isn't a strong alliance compared to something like Forbidden, or if you looked at TA during that time, right? These 2 alliances had so much more whales in their alliance, they had so much more power. And a lower power alliance was able to union with a bigger alliance, and this bigger alliance basically had a new ally and was able to try and take the fight to one you know, union and one alliance. And this is like a showcase and just showing on screen, you know, like how good the union system actually was for combat. And this is like the main reason I think a lot of players in this game are like quite upset about, because now what you're going to have is your alliance are all going to be in blue, and obviously all these NT45 members are all going to be in white still. So the amount of times you might misclick and you might attack one of them, and you know, you might do friendly fire, obviously that's added, if you want to call it like skill now in the game, but at the same time it was like really unnecessary. It was like a really weird combat system that didn't need changing, right? This does a really good fight, as you could see in the area, and this was like going back, like I say, in January time. So I don't understand the reasoning why they're doing the union change. I hope if anyone like is listening can like obviously give me some more reasonings, and then I might be able to comment below. But there's a lot of things that unions fixed that was a big problem basically in Rise of Kingdoms, and this is why a lot of people enjoy the combat system in this game compared to Call of Dragons. And this was a really big difference as well between the 2 games, like, and I thought it was a really good selling point compared to Rise of Kingdoms having this union based fighting system, because it was a way to allow players. And this is one thing developers don't realize, that the union system was all player based, so it was down to that alliance's actions as a, you know, a diplomatic leader to talk to other, you know, alliances around and get actual people that will ally with them, not because of fear, but because they actually want to ally, right? Because if they're just going to ally over fear, generally what will happen is over time, obviously resentment like starts to creep in, they'll start to gain power, and then in like a season reset, they might ally with all the other alliances that were against them, you know, and then start fighting, you know, the main culprit and stuff. So like the social dynamics and diplomatic, you know, dynamics of the game is something that's up to the players of that server, and that's one thing I think, you know, the developers need to realize they can't control. And to me, if they're scared about it, like, and they're scared of, say, like a server solidifying, so it was just like a complete one alliance shell in one server, the thing is that might develop and it might happen over time. But the way to conquer this is to, obviously for me, add in events that complement it, right? Because over time you are going to get these type of players or these type of servers that might develop that are just one alliance and everyone fights this one alliance, they all share equally, and you know, they get rewards spread out, it's all based on maybe activity or something like that, and then they're able to now, you know, just grow and enjoy the game, and enjoy the game in a PvE aspect over the PvP aspect. You know, there's 2 different, you know, areas when it comes to this game, which a lot of people are forgetting about, like I said. And that, for me, when it comes to unions and allowing players to like give them the decision to union with free alliances or not is a big really positive part of the game. So I do hope in the future that they put it back in the game. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Obviously it was just me rambling that last little bit with a little, you know, screenshot on screen still of what was going on, but just as I'm closing out, I'll show you guys the last little bit on the video clip. I'll put it down just so you can have something, you know, to enjoy again, because you do love your open field combat. But that is the video. I hope you enjoyed my little like ramblings. You know, you enjoyed my thoughts on unions and the change that's coming up in 1.014. As you can see, I'm not really for it. I hope they put it back in the game in the future. But that is me, MrSneakyy. Hit the button with subscribe, hit the like button, and comment below with your thoughts. And I'd love to, you know, hear any suggestions as well for future content. I'm here to provide. But that is me, MrSneakyy, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.